I want to acknowledge you, our lovely guests, our speakers that are on the call, friends of women in IT chapters, such as Dr. James that are on the call, and everyone else that is on the call. All right, so before we get into the business of the day, which is our main event, I just want to just give you a bit of background as to why we set up this session. So as I mentioned earlier, this is a collaboration between Women in IT South Africa and Women in ICT Botswana. We decided to come together because we saw there was a gap. So we saw an opportunity to put together a space or a session where women could just network, exchange stories, share knowledge, just in a relaxed environment, and also take it as an opportunity for you to network and also uncover collaboration opportunities. So that is the main reason why we're here today. Now, whilst I'm still on that point, I want to just ask you, audience, please share your LinkedIn handles in the chat box. And if you, and also whilst you're on the call, I want to encourage and pose a challenge. Can you try and at least connect with 5 people that are completely new to you? So 5 people that are not from your IT chapter. If you are from Malawi, you must link with people that are from Botswana, from South Africa, from Nigeria. Please try connect with at least 5 people so that at least we know at the end of the session, we would have fulfilled one of our goals, which is to give women a space for them to network. Now, some ground rules, and yes, before we also start, for those who might have seen the agenda or for those who might have not seen the agenda, you are on this call for a reason. Something drew you in. So I want to know, what are your expectations from this session? Even if you're not from the IT field, because I've seen some people that are also, I understand that we do have audience from the different industries. So please let us know in the chat, what are your expectations from the session? So if you're here to network, if you're here to learn, or if you're here to meet our amazing speakers, I mean, we do have some powerhouse speakers that are going to be taking the stage later on. So if you're just here because you absolutely adore Kaluba and you love how she speaks, that's also fine. You can also just let us know in the chat as well. Okay, so I've seen a few people that have shared their LinkedIn. Guys, I want to still encourage you, please do share your LinkedIn handles with us, because we do want you guys to network and grow your connections on LinkedIn. Okay, so some ground rules before we get into our main session. I'm going to ask kindly if you could please switch off our cameras as well as our microphones for us to allow to record the session. And also, please kindly keep your mics on mute. If you do have a burning question as the ladies are speaking, I would just ask you to use the raised hand sign and our moderator will attend to you. And if any questions or any comments do pop up as the fireside chat is going on, you can pop in your comments in the chat section, and we do have a Q&A after our main session. So without much further ado, I would like to introduce our moderator for the fireside chat, who's also my partner, the other half of the brilliant brains behind this webinar, Madam Lebo. She is the chairperson of Women in ICT Botswana. Madam Lebo, I hand over to you. Thank you.
Yes, Thelma, thank you. That was a lovely opening. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our discussion. I'm actually honored that I am moderating this powerful topic on empowering and securing women shaping the digital future together. Today, we're actually shining the light on digital hygiene for women and how we can protect ourselves, our data, and our digital identities in an increasingly connected world. But before I begin, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Matlapeng Khanda-Wiktor. I am the Secretary General for Botswana IT Society, also the Vice Chairperson for Tikon Africa. My chair lady is on board, Elizabeth Mathache in Malawi. And I'm also the Chairperson for Women in ICT in Botswana. As I speak of these names, Botswana IT Society is actually an entity that is a national professional body for ICT practitioners in Botswana. I know that IITPSA is for South Africa, and we also speak the same language in Botswana for advancing professionalism, developing ICT standards, and expanding digital skills, and supporting also national digital transformation. Outside that, we look at opportunities to support communities of practice, professional development, innovation, and responsible tech leadership. Women in ICT is a chapter under Botswana IT Society, and the platform is actually dedicated in empowering women in the sector. We are aligned with Women in Tikon Africa. You can just type on your browser to search on Tikon Africa. There's a whole lot that you'll learn about Tikon Africa. The body itself is a continental ecosystem, and our chapter is a program, an initiative in bringing women across the continent, leaders, innovators, and technology professionals to speak one language, to build capacity, share knowledge, and also strengthen Africa's voice in global digital policy, AI, cybersecurity, and all the other elements in technology. Now, but to start us off in this conversation, we have two powerful gurus in technology. I have Kaluba Chikonde, and I also have Angie Matlapeng. And I would like them to actually just open their mics to introduce themselves, and we can start this lovely conversation for this evening. Kaluba, may I start with you, please? Thelma, could you pin them on the screen?
Good evening, afternoon, wherever you're tuning in from. My name is Kaluba Chikonde, and very excited to be here. Very excited to be connecting with everyone. I am a data lead for a UK-based biosecurity company where we build digital solutions for farmers globally. And I'm also the founder of DimystifAI, which is an AI automation agency where we build AI automation solutions for SMMEs and entrepreneurs. I am also a keynote speaker as well. I speak about AI, all things AI and data. They actually call me the queen of data. So if there's anything that you take away from today or try to remember me, you can call me the queen of data. But yeah, I'm also a proud member of the Women in IT, part of the IITPSA community. So tuning in, I'm based in Johannesburg currently, and yeah, looking forward to really just unpacking this conversation, because I do believe that it is a timely conversation that needs to be had, given what's been happening with regards to just this women and the digital space. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaluba. Angela, could I ask you to please open your mic and camera as well?
Sure. Good time of the day to everyone. And thank you so much for having me here. My name is Angela. Everyone calls me Angie. I'm comfortable with Angie. I am a cybersecurity expert. I have been working for the Botswana Communications Regulatory Authority for about 7 years now, until about a month ago when I just felt like I really needed some time off of work. It's not a bad thing. So in the in the meantime, I'm just doing a little bit of consultancy work, mainly with cybersecurity awareness with the Africa Set. I am also an ITU mentor for women in cybersecurity. I do a little bit of work with special interest groups at ICANN, at the Forum for Incident Responders and Security Teams, or FAST for short, where I mainly deal with domain name abuse. So as you'll probably figure out with the conversation that we're going to have today, most of the attacks that people are facing actually come through domain names. So that's one area that I specialize in. I'm also into data science, just as Kaluba. My recent master's is in business analytics, so I also speak the language of AI and machine learning. So yeah, that's just a little bit about me, and nice to meet everyone here, and looking forward to having a conversation tonight.
Thank you so much. A round of applause for the two. I can see the claps there. We've had both are deep in experience, cybersecurity, digital innovation, AI, and I believe we cannot leave out women empowerment. But our topic is actually centered on being digitally secure, and this is why we have these two ladies. Just on a background, in the past 10 days, I believe each of us may have in our towns, in our cities, in our countries, have a story or some stories on women being targets for online malicious intentions. Just last week in Botswana news, we had trending news. 3 Botswana women were actually rescued from the OR Tambo airport from human traffickers. These were en route Sierra Leone for better pastures. Well, of course, online social engineering, but the promise was better living standards and more monies to bring home. To get us started, maybe let's hear from Angela and Kaluba. But I'll start with Kaluba, just to hear what recent headlines have you had that made you cringe to make you want to talk about this today. Kaluba, can I take you
Yes.
first?
Yes, I think so many people, just to begin, why this conversation is so important is that I'm sure we are all online and we've seen the purple banner that everyone is putting up on social media, and that is regarding, the violence or the fights against the violence against women. And it just goes beyond the physical. I mean, South Africa has a high crime rate. Women are 5 times highly to be attacked, than globally in South Africa. So the statistics are very, very alarming when it comes to women getting targeted, but not just physically. And we're also seeing a rise of women getting attacked digitally. So there's, cybersecurity, bullying. There's so many other forms, but the most interesting one for me that we've seen a rise in is the AI deep fakes. So I'm sure some of us have our WhatsApp groups. Previously, I don't know if you remember, but previously we had our WhatsApp groups where our aunties and uncles would forward images to say, hey, if you don't click on this, you won't be rich. Please forward this email to 10 people for you to get rich. So now that has advanced. Those kinds of messages have advanced now to AI videos. So I'm in a WhatsApp group, in a family WhatsApp group, and I'm always receiving videos of news. This is what's happening in a certain country. This is, look, guys, let's be aware, let's be alert, it's news. And when you look deeper into the video, the image, it's actually an AI generated video or an AI generated image, where now scammers are getting very, very smart and cloning people to perform cloning people and luring them as victims. And one thing, we had a case in South Africa where scammers used SABC TV anchors to start luring people into crypto scams. And so there's definitely a huge rise where people are now cloning. People can clone your image, people can clone your voice, and they can start using you, especially the popular people, to start using people or luring people into these scams. And so, yeah, there's definitely been a rise in gender-based violence by targeting women specifically online, but as well as technology is becoming so advanced now with AI, where people's voices can be cloned, their faces can be cloned, and scammers are getting more and more intelligent when it comes to understanding or using your data to understand how you operate, the things that you like, the things that you do, the people that you know, and they can use all of that information to target you specifically.
Oh, wow, thank you, Kaluba. And did you have anything to add there? I know you have quite a broad perspective as well.
Sure. I think I'm just going to ride on the AI examples that have been given as well, because really that's what's trending on the news right now. I know for a fact that a lot of women have been bullied online, especially women in politics, through deep fakes and all those things. But just maybe to give an example that's near home that really speaks to cyberbullying, there was a movement that went on called Justice for Lufuno, right? This was a young girl who got bullied, physically assaulted in school, and then one of the kids also took a recording of the incident and they put it online, and she ended up overdosing on prescribed medication, and that unfortunately resulted in her losing her life. So there's a lot of cyberbullying that's going on, not just to an extent of sharing videos like that where someone is being physically assaulted, but also with sextortion as well. So think of young girls sharing their private pictures with people they feel safe with or people they're in love with, and then once the relationship spoils, then they start circulating those images, right? From the kind of data that we used to look into from something called the deep web, right, where it's not where everyone really goes, but it's a really secretive or deep part of the internet where a lot of cyber criminals reside. You'd find a lot of small girl images being hosted in very large quantities, very disturbing quantities, where even your own machine could be used as a peer to get people to download that kind of information. So it's been that, but I also came across a very interesting story where one 36-year-old man was stalking a university professor for about 6 or 7 years. And then once she had all her information probably gathered from her social media and all that, he developed a chatbot that looked like was talking and interacting with the users on her behalf. And then it got interesting when the chatbot now started having an option to say, do you want to come over to my house? Are you into whatever sexual, acts and all that? Like it got really, really dark to a point where now those people actually going to this lady's house, not knowing that they were being stalked by a whole 36-year-old. And in their mind, they just thought that they're going to meet this professor. On TikTok, if you watch most videos, there's a couple of people that have been exposing predators online. So you'd find that these games that our young people play, most of them have voice control and all those things. So you'd think that you're playing a safe game, but you don't know who signed up for the profile that you end up interacting with. And so young people, young girls, get to be exposed through these games and then end up being lured by these predators. There has been an incident where a game, I think it's Talking Tom or something, at some point Talking Tom would dare kids to even take off their clothes, and it's quite interesting because now you've got your camera on, you've got your voice recording on, and once all that is captured, it means then you then get bribed or extorted because now your images are already online and all those things. But there's so many stories that I could speak to, but just to maybe go back to the AI part, there's just so much that's going on because artificial intelligence is helping and assisting in getting all these crimes reach more people, become more targeted, especially for young girls and women. So I'm just gonna pause here for now.
Wow, Angie, my skin is literally crawling goosebumps. This is not just regional or Botswana or South African. I believe it's the whole globe is facing these. The unfortunate thing is, Kaluba, you mentioned the stats that women are actually targets, and you've given numbers. And we are seeing that these are actually real risks. They're not just data, they are literally real. And when you look at it, more so that women are more active online, we cannot really say we have to remove them from participating online. But the question is, why do we fall for these traps? Is it social, cultural, immaturity, emotional, technological? What is it? Is it economic? What is the problem? Kaluba,
Is
let
that
me
all?
with you.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks. Honestly, it's a very it's a very complex topic, and I yes, there's definitely an emotional aspect to it, but a big part about it is your information and your data. So majority of the time, women we tend to spend a lot of time online, from social media, scrolling on TikTok, Instagram, to shopping, to doing so many other things. So it's the fact that majority of us are on social media, but also it's the fact that scammers are now becoming very smart at understanding how we behave online. So they use your data, they use your information to really, really fully understand. So there's like two aspects to it. Like you mentioned, there's the emotional engineering side of things, where they're tapping into our emotional side and they're using trust. They're using urgency, they're using fear. Like, oh, she mentioned as well we where they take your nudes or whatever, and they threaten you, so that they're trying to instill fear in you, or where they say we will block your accounts, pay us money, and we'll release your accounts and the like. They're trying to also use flattery, right, where they're taking the time to really fully nurture you and tap into your emotions. So scammers are becoming very, very intelligent when it comes to the psychology. But the other one that I think specifically is targeted towards women, which is a form of which is a form of emotional engineering, is aspirational engineering. We like things, right? We like things. We like to look good. We're always shopping online. We want to feel like we always, yeah, we like things as women when it comes to shopping online, when it comes to beauty products, when it comes to all of those things. We love fast fashion, right? And so now scammers are now tapping into that lifestyle, the convenience. We love convenience. We love the lifestyle. And so scammers are tapping into that aspirational side, the lifestyle, the convenience, and the desires. And so it's becoming very, very targeting specifically women, because majority of shoppers are women. Instagram, Facebook, Facebook Marketplace, TikTok, all of those are pushing ads or content towards movement. So I just think that, especially now with AI and data, algorithms are becoming super, super intelligent and starting to understand our behaviors, what we buy, what we do, who's in our network, and starting to now come up with personalized attacks towards women. So I think it's just a matter of, yes, we are the majority sort of people online, but it's also scammers that are becoming super, super smart and using advanced technologies to really understand our behaviors and start to target us specifically, as well as tapping into that emotional side.
And I know you're very passionate about this one as well. I can see the passion in Kaluba, but I know you have a lot too. Do you mind sharing that?
Yeah, I think a lot has been said, so I'm just probably gonna borrow from that as well. I would say, especially coming to an African context, there's lack of awareness with a lot of women. Some of them don't even own cell phones, so by the time that they do, they're probably just excited about having those devices that they're not even aware of how they're changing or the impact in their lives. There's also a shame aspect of it. We have this saying, mo Botswana gore, make it ya setšhaba, or the lady is she's important when it comes to the nation and all that. So she's an important figure, right? She's a builder and all that. So thinking of being shamed because, say, your pictures are circulating online, or someone is at least threatening that they're going to circulate your images online, brings this form of shame that women just end up giving in. And if there's like financial implications to it, they end up paying ransom or whatever price that's being asked of them, just so they could at least keep that dignity. But something that has been alluded to, which is the type of content that's being curated, yes, for women, right? There's something called agency loss in AI, where the original reasons of data collections tend to change as the model itself changes. So if I say collect your, I don't know, IP address because I want to give you services that are close to you know, your area and all that. And then I can use that information to then see where you've been, say shopping and all those things, and then I start sending you ads related to where you've been and all that. That's agency loss, right? The original consent that was given was that I need to use your location so I can you know, give you some other services, and now it's expanding. And this is the same reason that the US was trying to ban TikTok recently, to say in China, you're giving people, or kids rather, content that's educational. And then in the US, you're feeding our kids content that's all about self-harm and all that, right? So these algorithms, if we're not careful, end up curating this image, especially with beauty standards, what it looks like to be acceptable in the community of social media and all that. The algorithms keep on forming and changing our perspectives without us actually realizing. It's been researched during the COVID pandemic where kids had mass hysteria through TikTok. So most of them were reporting symptoms of some disease, and it turned out that they really didn't have the disease. It was just mass hysteria happening online because they were exposed to the similar algorithms. So you can see the extent to which these harms are happening. There's now a drug called Ozempic, which is used to help people who've got diabetes and all that. But because of all these unrealistic beauty standards, most women are buying this drug off of TikTok markets, and it's not even prescribed by doctors because they're trying to lose weight, right? And this is all because they've seen it through algorithms. A lot of people are promoting it, and all this is not even regulated. So if young kids think Ozempic is cool and they can get it off of a TikTok market, that's what they're doing. So there's just a lot that's being curated by algorithms that are behind the content that we consume on a daily basis. And it's more prolific on the women's side because there's also a lot of bias. Unfortunately, when these solutions are made, not a lot of women are in the room. So you can see from the results that come from the models to say, someone probably didn't think of this. If you were to look up professional hairstyle, it's gonna take a lot of scrolling to actually see nice afro black hair in the picture. It's probably gonna be some white lady with a nice pony and all those things. Or if you were to Google like a finance, I don't know, professional, it's probably gonna be a whole lot of men, and then you'll probably see women down there, right? So all these algorithms being built without the women voice during conception of the ideas and all those things end up showing in the results of the models as we now start to apply them in real life, and it scars women more than the other gender counterparts.
Thank you so much. It's more the output, the outcomes that are consequential than the inputs. I know there's also a component of digital addiction. You mentioned mass hysteria. That comes from your cognitive underdevelopment and not being able to maintain your cognitive strength, self-control, self-regulation from all these resources that we're getting online. It's a pity that all these are like kryptonite, and to escape them, you need training, you need awareness. But I'm curious, maybe I could prompt the audience to throw in, as we explore protecting our digital identity. Let's hear from you, lovely audience. 5 actions you take personally to secure your online accounts yourself. I'll continue having the conversation, but would love to hear your comments, and we'll share a bit of report at the end, or once we send you the feedback form. So I'm looking forward to your inputs from the audience. But I would also now probably just pick Angie. You, as a cybersecurity expert, you are seeing all these, and you're working on a response, or on a lot of response methods. However, how can women, or what tools, a checklist for women every day who are online, what checklist can you share with them, or what to include? I'll start with you, Angie.
Yeah. So there's a couple of hashtags we usually use during the October month of cyber awareness. So it's stop, think, and click, in that order. So this just simply means that if you're getting any kind of information, if you're being prompted to click on a link, if you're being asked to share your personal information, you just have to stop. And then the think part of it is like, now take a minute and put a little bit analysis to it to say, where's this coming from? Do I trust the source, right? How can I validate that it's actually coming from the right person? If it looks like it's coming from the right person, what else can I do to verify that indeed this is coming from the right person? Especially around cases where there's some sense of urgency, to say an email, right? That's saying, if you don't change your password, for whatever account, we're going to lock you out, or to say your password has been hacked, so you need to change it, otherwise you'll be locked out by end of day. Those kind of messages that just put you in a corner, right? And then the click part is to say only when it's safe can you then engage with whatever media that you that has been shared with you, right? So my online safety or cyber hygiene tips would be, first of all, just practice password hygiene. So this means that you probably have a 12 plus password that's 12 plus in length, and then it's got your caps, so your bigger letters, your small letters, numbers, special characters and all that, right? It actually takes a few seconds to crack such a password. So for quite important accounts now, the recommended length is about 16, but I'd still say 12 is fine. Of course, there comes a question of how do you then remember all these passwords? Because then the other advice is not to use the same password for multiple accounts, because if one password has been guessed, then it means the rest of the accounts are compromised as well. So there's something called the password manager. One that I could recommend is called KeyPass. So you're able to even use it offline, right? So with a password manager, you just need to remember one password that goes into the password manager itself, and then you can randomly generate other passwords for all your several accounts and then keep them safely in this password manager. A lot of people will sign into accounts using their Google account because it's easier to do that. But think about it, if the Google account itself is hacked, so it means all the other accounts that have access to your Google account will also be, by default of the third party, be affected, right? My other advice would be to share less of yourself online, right? And I know for young girls and maybe for women, because we really love to share, it's difficult. But especially if you are a parent and you're sharing so much about your kid, there's so much harm that comes with that. What I had mentioned earlier on with having predators that keep databases of kids, they just scrape all this data online and then store it in a database, and no one can actually verify who that kid is. And then they'll go to that bias and say, listen, I've got this little girl, videos and all that, only to find out this is the stuff that you put online as a parent to say, maybe I'm celebrating my kid's first birthday or whatever achievement. And sometimes you're putting that with their school uniform on, some background that can also expose the kid's location and all that. And it's funny how life works, because 10 years down the line, the kid is gonna create a password that's got the birth date as part of the password, and it's just gonna be easy for the criminal to just go to the mom's site and say, okay, this guy probably has this birth date as part of the password, right? I would also just really discourage people from downloading stuff from unsolicited sites or unsafe sites. I know that a lot of us will, download free books, free music, free movies, especially some of them not even released in the cinema, which is kind of very shocking. That on its own is a crime against intellectual property. But like it's been said earlier on, we love a lot of free things. So if you're really not paying something online, you probably are the price. And this is how malware or malicious software gets into people's computers. You're going to download that movie and you assume nothing's happening, but in the background, you've downloaded a malware or malicious software, virus in simple terms. And if, for instance, it's a keylogger, which means whatever you type on your keyboard is going to be copied as is, and it will go back to whoever's hosting that malware. And you will never see that that's happening because it's all in the background, right? So later then it's going to look like, oh, your Facebook account has been hacked or your bank account details have been leaked and all that, only to find out that it really started with you getting a free book online or a free movie, and then it came with a little piece of virus that went into your laptop and you didn't know about it. And all you can see maybe as symptoms is a slow laptop and all those things. The last one that I would share is the autofill feature. A lot of us would want to say, okay, Google, can you remember my password and all that? Going back again to information stealer malware. If you get that virus on your PC and you don't know about it, it will copy all those stored passwords as is, literally as is. And they are mostly put in places called paste bins in the dark web. And there's something called account as a service where owners of these paste bins will say, listen, I've got Lebo's username and password. She's part of the Internet Society or Women in IT organization. Would you like to conduct some form of phishing? Another small hacker would say yes. Then they say, okay, you just need $1 to borrow those credentials, and then they go ahead and send you a phishing email. And where is it coming from? It's your user behavior. So you went to a site, you downloaded a movie, it came with a virus. The virus copied all the passwords that you remembered on your browser, and it also copied the stuff that you were typing, and now you're compromised. And the unfortunate thing is, even with security people, this happens with found on many occasions where organizations have been compromised because someone used the same details that they use at work on their personal devices. Say your Netflix, for instance, it's the same username and password that you use to access your work stuff. So once that's compromised, maybe could just be a data breach, because there's a lot of those happening as well. That means you're also compromised because you've used your work credentials on personal stuff. So yeah, there's a lot I can speak to, but I think those should suffice. And of course, I'll also demonstrate on multi-factor authentication in a few minutes to help alleviate some of these threats.
I'm thinking, bring your own device. How many of us literally take our laptops home and we mix everything, work, hustle, kids, alles. Forgive me, the South Africans, I'll speak now Africans. We put alles online, and it's quite a lot that we would lose once it's gone. Actually, 2 weeks ago, my computer crashed with everything in it. And I'm thinking, if I was in the black the dark web, probably I could recover most of my stuff. Whoever might have access to my my information. Kaluba, do you have something? I'm actually running out of time. I'll give you a minute.
Yeah, I'll just make it brief. I was just thinking, I have a long laundry list because I'm just like falling victim to everything she's saying. I'm like, that's me, that's me. But I just want to, for me, speak towards an AI hygiene checklist, because I'm pretty sure that everyone now, AI is becoming prevalent. Everyone's using Copilot or ChatGPT. I'm sure everyone has some form of ChatGPT right now, and I don't think they understand some of the risks behind data sharing. So when you open ChatGPT, or even right now, some of you have your ChatGPT open, always, or any AI platform that you use, there's always an option for data sharing where it's normally by default. Sometimes it will be switched on, where it says use my data to train models. Under ChatGPT, it's under data controls, but I'm not sure other platforms. But just go into privacy settings or something around data security, data or privacy settings. So if you have an AI platform, if you're on an AI platform, always ensure that you switch that off, because if that thing is on, it means they are using, and people use ChatGPT as a therapist, as a accountant, as a everything. They use it to do everything, not realizing what data you're sharing with this model. So when you go into your settings, under data controls for ChatGPT, make sure you switch that off, where it says use my data to train models. Switch that off. In addition to that, OpenAI has introduced parental control on ChatGPT. So if you have children that are using ChatGPT as well, now you can add yourself as a parent, where you can introduce some parental controls, and you know what they are scrolling, because we've seen, I think, the cases of where someone committed suicide because of a conversation with ChatGPT and the like. So now OpenAI has introduced parental control under settings as well. There's parental control where you can add yourself as a user on your child's ChatGPT. So any platform that you go onto, this is just for AI platforms, but I'm also talking about, or any social media platform. Instagram, for example, has introduced a location sharing feature. Ensure that location sharing is off. Facebook used to be fun. We used to like to show off. Oh, I'm in Sandton City Mall. I'm at Nelson Mandela Square. Look at me. Tag location. We're no longer doing that as women because of our safety. We're always turning location off. On Uber, when you're using ride sharing apps, always ensure that you look for all the safety features, which could be sharing your trip with someone, whether it could be the pins, or I think there's one where you can record a voice. So whenever you go into a platform, look at privacy settings, look at what you are allowing, because they are obligated to give you the choice to say, I don't want to share this information. So don't share personal information with ChatGPT. Don't share your IDs. Don't share any financial details. Don't share anything. When I'm using ChatGPT, I always use like a fake name or fake numbers. Don't use your own personal information, especially when it comes to sensitive information. When you're online, use a virtual card. If you have a bank that allows you to create virtual cards, use a virtual card. I learned the hard way. I had one password, same password. It's convenient. Let me use my password for everything, all my apps, everything. My phone got stolen, and they hacked into Uber Eats for some reason. The scammers wanted Uber Eats, so they used my Uber Eats, and they purchased like alcohol and food and so many things, simply because I had the same password for everything. So I agree, don't use your same password for everything. If you have an iPhone now has a method in which you can hide specific apps. So if someone steals your phone, they won't always see all your apps, especially your banking apps. Sometimes we're prone to banking apps getting stolen. So there's a feature where you can hide an app where it would require facial ID, or it would require extra authentication for someone to access that. So I'd really recommend using that. But yeah, my main one was pretty much around, when you're using AI platforms, be careful what data you are sharing with that AI platform.
You speak of AI, and I know that even ICT people are quite reckless using it, because we take our codes there, we put everything, letters to our, I don't want to name the list, but even our data from when you're analyzing data from your workplace, it's collecting all that information about us, and then you do a search, and then it gives you prior information, you're like, what? I didn't think this has it. But you can see how much risk that we're actually exposing ourselves to. But it's quite interesting. I'm more keen on also seeing how we can use a multi-factor authentication. Angela, could you help us maybe just take that on? I know that for banking, for some of our accounts, we can actually use an MFA. For my audience, can you just say, yes, I use MFA in the chat so that we see if we have quite savvy teams here? Just throw that in the chat. Angela, just show us a demo on the MFA use.
Sure. Just let me know if you can see my screen because I'm sharing now.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So multi-factor authentication, for those who might not know, is just like a second layer to your usual username and password. So it could be your OTP or one-time PIN that's sent to your cell phone whenever you successfully input your password and your username. It could be a string of codes that you get from an authenticator that you can either install on your phone or whatever device. It could be your biometrics, so your facial recognition, your thumbprint, and all those things. So that's what it means. So I'm just going to demonstrate this on a Google account because a lot of people have these and probably sign up on a lot of other apps using this account. What you're going to do is come to log into your account and then go to manage your Google account. I hope my internet won't disappoint me. Yes, right. And then to your left, you'll see a menu option that says security and sign in. You're going to go there. And now you could see pretty much a little bit of logging that's telling you what has been done in the previous few days and all that. You can sign in to see more. And then you've got your two-step verification, which is what we're going to be doing here. You can change your password and all that. So the skip password when possible feature only works on biometrics. So if you've got your fingerprint set up or you've got your facial recognition or voice, that's when you could put this on to say if you've got that turned on, then that's fine. I usually don't recommend that because I've seen it with kids, they just grab their phones and then run to their parents' faces and unlock just like that. So I wouldn't recommend such features. But anyway, you can also see the devices that are logged into your Google account. And this is what I was talking about. So I've got some third-party apps or services that are connected to my Google account. And at any given time, you can come down here and remove them. There's also something called enhanced safe browsing. So I'm going to speak a little bit on that once I've got the multi-factor authentication set up. But simply safe browsing will pop up a message like this in case you visit a malicious site or mostly malicious websites, or if you're trying to download a malicious application. So you're just saying to Chrome, could you please make sure that you're running verification on some URLs that I'm entering, and if the malicious just warn me, and then I can take action. So I'm going to go here. So it's gonna require my password for that. Yep. So I will choose the Authenticator app. And I'm just going to do a quick demo from my phone as well. So there's an app called Google Authenticator that you can download. And then once I say set up authenticator here, it'll give me a QR code to scan. Please don't scan it. Anyway, I'll be able to remove it, but just again, please don't scan it. So once I scan this code, okay, I can't show everything because I've got multiple codes in here just for security purposes. But once I scan this code, it will now say to me, can you enter the 6 digits that you're getting from your Google Oath? So that's what I'm going to do. I've got 5, 7, 4, 9. Verify. Yeah, so I just got a message to say, now my authenticator is added. You can do the same with your phone number. You can do the same with your passkeys. Passkeys would also be your fingerprint, your facial recognition, and all that. So it's probably the quickest way of doing it. But like I did mention, if someone is threatening you and saying put your finger there, you'll probably do it or something like that. So that was just one way of authenticating. Obviously, hackers have found a way to go around these. There's SIM swapping, which is very prevalent here in Africa, where people just go register your SIM card and say, I lost my SIM card, and because there's no verification, they end up receiving all your OTPs, especially with the banks and all those things, and it really doesn't matter. So I would go with the authenticator because that's something that's on your phone and you've got control on it. You can always refresh the codes as well, and just make sure that it's up to date and protecting you, right? I think I'm done with this section, so I'm just gonna come back here for the enhanced safe browsing. Yeah, so that's all you need to do is just to click on that. So enhanced browsing will again show this kind of message in case you go into a site that's likely to steal your information and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's about it from me. If there's any questions, I can take them, or any further explanation that someone might need, I can do that as well. You also have it here on Facebook, so yeah, you can set it up. Okay, I'm gonna need to do that. But yeah, it's pretty much on all applications that require logins now. You can always set up two-factor authentication, whatever that looks like for you. It's pretty much the same settings for most accounts. So yeah, thanks everyone.
Angela, just remind me here, which one is it the Microsoft one or the Google one, Authenticator? No, the
You can
Microsoft
use both. It doesn't matter. You can use both. So it will work on both. I was using the Google Auth.
Which would you recommend? I know that there's ones you can purchase.
They're actually both free. And I use both of them in case the other is not working or if there's a data breach somewhere. So I use both as my authenticators. I duplicate the codes on both. Yeah.
I would love to hear from the audience, just 1 or 2 questions to allow for interaction with our panelists. Thelma, my apologies, I'm running way behind time on your schedule here. Can I just get a question from our audience to just...
Sure, Lebo. I think there were some questions from the chat. I see Tuntu had asked a question earlier.
There's a question from Chanda in the chat around laptops being able to record us. I think maybe yeah, I don't know if Andrew will be able to answer that.
Okay, let's see.
Sorry.
Okay, so this was an interesting one. We didn't speak about permissions, right? By default, some permissions like your microphone, your camera would be on for some apps, or well, for most apps. So you explicitly have to go to your app permissions and say, I don't want my camera to be accessed by ABC apps because I really don't see the reason why they should be there. And that's just one way you could get your phone or your laptop recording stuff. Some people also have your virtual assistants. So yeah, they're triggered by certain words and all those things. And then of course they'll have to respond if you're looking for help. But the other way of having the surveillance on is what I just explained earlier on with malicious software, where your camera is literally on and the hack is so simple. It's so easy. Even a college kid can run that hack. They send you a link to say, oh, look at these nice pictures, or you will get a voucher for whatever competition that you actually never entered. And then once you click on that, that's going to trigger your camera, and it's always going to be monitoring, even if it's not showing that light. The recording light that shows that it's on usually doesn't go on. So it's just going to be dark and you're not even aware that it's recording, right? So the best way is to just go to your permissions, check out what your camera, which apps have access to your camera, to your microphone, to your location. Those are the three major ones I would recommend people look for. It just doesn't make sense to say if you're listening to music, you need your camera on, or you're using your calculator, you need your microphone on. So yeah. Also, just when you're downloading some apps, make sure you read the T's and C's and the actual permissions that are needed. There's an app that a lot of people like using. It's called Truecaller, and it's collecting so much from people, and it's also sharing other people's phone numbers and all those things, violating data protection laws and all those things without consent and permission from your contacts. So I know a lot of people would say, yeah, we use it to see who's calling us and all those things, but for that you're paying a lot in terms of the data that's being collected from your own device just to see and find out what number is calling you. So yeah, I would definitely say look into permissions. And if you don't have an antivirus on your phone, you probably want to have one, because it's just like a laptop. You need to scan it and all the things that go in it. Yeah.
Kaluba, your final words?
I think she's pretty much wrapped up everything. We're in the age now where technology is becoming advanced. As much as, yes, we're in the age of AI, it means that there are people who are online who will use it for malicious intent. And so just be careful what data you're sharing, and ensure that you're taking the measures. It may feel so inconveniencing. It's like what they say about, on the flight, when you have to watch that video of you buckling your seatbelt and how to behave in the case of an emergency. Like, do you only realize how important that is when you're faced with an emergency, or the plane is about to land or crash? Then you remember, what did they say in that video? So it's similar. Don't wait to be a victim. I've been a victim myself because I didn't take the right measures to protect my devices, and rather, just prevention is better than cure, always.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, ladies. Due to time, there was a lot more questions I know that you have. I would love to actually hear more from all of you. We do have a questionnaire that Thelma is circulating on the chat. I want to throw in a question there that you can also give us feedback on as you fill out that form. What harassment response plan do you have in case you are to encounter harassment online in the next 24 hours? What will be your response plan? And with that, I would love to thank all of you for the time you've given us from all your locations across the continent. Let's be safe, confident, be more informed, and also let our young ones also be trained and be guided being online. You are the cradles, like Angie said. So without you, without the guidance, we are building a nation or a continent that is informed. Thank you very much. Back to you, Thelma.
Thank you so much, Lebo, and thank you to our speakers. I think if anything, what I took away from this is that even if you are an IT professional, everyone does need to clean up in terms of their usage and their presence online. So that was my key takeaway from today. Also just as a last remark, I almost feel a sense of duty for us as IT professionals to our fellow women on the continent. So we definitely would love to keep the conversation going forward, which is why I keep on emphasizing, let's connect. We'll exchange contact details. We'll see if we can have initiatives where we can partner with women organizations in the general public in order to raise such awareness. Because if I, as an IT professional, realized just now that, okay, when I give permissions on my phone, there's data being collected. Can you imagine the average woman on the continent? So that's just something that I've taken away today. Before we close off, I would just like to acknowledge our guests from Nigeria. They did join a little bit later on the call. So guys, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. And I want to invite our chairperson from Women in IT South Africa, who's given us the space for us to host this incredible session. Thenzie, if you could please just give us some closing remarks before we leave.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much. What an insightful event and webinar. Really something that we need. And I think we just started to scratch the surface. So ladies, I do encourage that we definitely carry this conversation forward. There's just a lot that we need to still touch on, especially for us, some of us that are also parents. There's a lot that we need to cover on that topic, as well as on the women topic as well. But a job well done. Thank you, Lebo and Angela and Kaluba, Thelma. Well done on organizing this. And also thank you to Lee, our marketing lady, who put all of this together as well as the Institute giving us this opportunity to share with other countries. And I'm really motivated and excited to meet all of you from all over Africa. Welcome, ladies, and really looking forward to collaborate and engage, and let's keep this conversation going. So yeah, as we sign off tonight, let us remember that, we are empowered and we want to be empowered, but we also need to be very secure with it. So I always say with great power also comes great responsibility. So let's keep that in mind. Wonderful, ladies, and look forward to more collaborations in 2026. And I also wish you an awesome festive season. Be careful with the Black Friday specials that are coming up. We've heard from the ladies. We've heard how Kaluba was scammed. So yes, no, definitely just be secure during the festive season, but also enjoy it. Thank you so much, ladies. Thanks, Thelma. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Thenzie. And with that, we've come to the end of our session. Please do fill in our feedback form because it does allow us to curate the webinars going forward as to what topics are important and relevant in your different industries as well as your different countries. So with that, we've come to the end of our session. I really would just like to thank everyone. Thank you, Lee, for entertaining me as we were doing the back and forth organizing this. Thank you to our speakers, Kaluba and Angela, for showing up, and Lebo for collaborating, and everyone else for taking the time to join us. Have a good evening. Cheers, everyone.